most likely that I will ever bring this truck and park it at my house for a minute. Gotta love the vibrations and stuff, don't we? Let's assume we have sound. We're gonna go over to do Happy Joe's. The only Happy Joe's I know of in central Iowa, anyway. It used to be quite popular back in the 80s when I was a kid, the 70s, but slowly by surely, one by one, they closed up. Kind of like the Hy-Vees and stuff, or not Hy-Vees, but get out of here, I put my trash can over and in the ditch. Oh, right. Anyhow, it's been a very surreal kind of week. I'm not going to lie. I am a pessimist by nature. It has beaten into me since I was a young man. I have had so much shit go wrong in my life, it ain't funny. Some of it of my own making, some of it not. That is just the kind of the nature of the beast. And as I've mentioned before, that has led me to make some bad choices in my lifetime. And, sometimes you end up in prison for doing that sort of stuff. So, a lifetime of sex, drugs, and rock and roll and doing whatever the hell I wanted to do, and damn, the consequences cost me a lot when I was younger. It wasn't until I got older that I realized just how messed up shit could be. But that's my problem, such as it is. So, my boss sold his business after 4 years of negotiations on and off with this company. The irony of irony, I was working for him when this company bought up Jim John's, which used to be a portable outhouse outfit. And I've watched him grow from one old truck to a whole fleet of trucks. So it's natural for them to want to expand. So what they've got me doing, yesterday they sent me something through the internet called Gusto or whatever, and I basically signed a work agreement with them. Although I have yet to fill out a W-4 or anything for my insurance or any of that stuff, which will come. They emphasize repeatedly, and this is a nice company. I can decide myself with just how nice and professional it looks and is compared to the experience I've had for the last 9 years working for my boss, Evan. You've watched enough videos to know literally I've been on my own more or less for all clean now for going on 4 years, 3+ years, basically left to do everything revolving around this part of his business. So the new owner said, we want you to just keep doing what you're doing for the next few weeks. So I'm using all clean work orders that I printed out the other day, not knowing what I would be doing this week. I took a lark. I printed a schedule for this current week and printed a whole bunch of work orders out because nobody told me not to do it, but nobody told me to do it either. I was getting this kind of, I don't know, it was a little bit all over the place, very happy, very confused, especially on my boss's wife's end. And she's been trying to do a whole lot in a short window. So that goes without saying that things are going to get a little hectic and crazy when you're shutting your business down and selling it to somebody else and how all that works. So supposedly, she's having a technician come in tomorrow, an IT guy. He's going to strip out everything out of my work computer, but the files and programs I use to do this job. And then they're going to take the computer over to WSI, which is my new employers, and I will do my schedules over there for the next couple of weeks until we get all this stuff transitioned into their system. So I'm currently going to do a job. I did 2 this morning, which should give me around 8-9 hours for today. And they will make sure I get paid for it, of course. Now, they were telling me in the office from 2 different sources I was going to get paid $24 an hour. The form I just signed said I was starting in 22. So that is something I'm going to ask them about again tomorrow. Because tomorrow at some point after I get up in the morning and get the breakfast and stuff, I'm going to take my work orders and my timesheet for today and drop it off over there. And I want to ask somebody over there if they want me to, when do they want to bring the truck over to their yard? I'm currently parking it up at the shop as a night like tonight when I do these split shifts. Often I would bring the truck home, so all I had to do was get in the truck and go on to the next job. I didn't have to run up the street to get the truck, drive the van any more than I have to. Well, that'll change with this new company. They have a yard, so I'll leave the truck there, and they clock in and out on a data pad, on a digital pad. So I will get there, and then I will do what I got to do, clock in, and pray I don't do split shift. Now Dylan, he's the guy that's the operations manager that oversees pretty much all the main operations over there, which will include the grease. We already know he does the grease for them, and he'll be overseeing the hood guys until they figure out what they're doing. And he said that he asked me what shift would I like. Well, I'm the new guy. I mean, I'm not really in a position to dictate things. I mean, when I said I don't mind working evenings, and he's like, what, start at 6 p.m.? And I'm like, what work world have you been in, young man, young sir? I'm just asking because by all definitions, a day shift, an evening shift, and a night shift is pretty straightforward. Not very many evening shifts that start at 6 p.m. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Hello? By the time your morning shift guys are finishing up, is when your night shift starts, or your evening shift starts. But they run things a little different. I have to accept that, we'll try to figure that part out. So, by all definition, I'm still working. I just have a different, I'm working for a new boss. Although I'm still working as if I'm working for Allclean. So it's a bit confusing a little strange. And I get real nervous when things don't seem to be normal. Just have issues with it. I'll get over those issues, I'm sure. This is a company that I could probably retire from. I don't doubt that I can work there until I'm too old to work. And the owner was adamant that of the 5 men that work for him, Jim Johns, 2 still work for him, and 3 are dead. So they didn't quit, they didn't get fired, which is a good thing. I'm a little rough around the edges, and I can occasionally put my foot in my mouth and sometimes make some mistakes, and like everybody else, I try hard not to. Apparently, I have a much better reputation than I figured I did. They really seemed earnest about being, wanting me working there. They're really looking forward to my joining their crew. And then the other day, I was out at the sewer plant, and one of the inspectors was there, and she said, "Oh, by the way, all your customers say nothing but good things about you," which she had heard, obviously, because apparently this buyout's been in the works, and a lot of people more than me knew about it sooner than I did. So she said, "We'd heard that your boss is retiring, and blah, blah." And I said, "Yeah, hopefully the new people will employ me." And she said, "You have to really, your customers think highly of you. I don't see that being a problem." And I don't know how to handle that sort of stuff. I'm not used to having really good positive reinforcement in my life. I have never had good positive reinforcement in my life. That's not true. My grandparents tried. My mom did her best. My dad was a piece of work. He was a very abusive person. But his abuse came in the mental and verbal, not so much physical. He wasn't the sort to slap you around and hit you and stuff unless you did something really, really stupid. And that was when he'd bring the belt out. And when I got too old for the belt, with him and I had not a lot to talk about, which, it took, once again, I had to go to prison to wake up to understand the world from his perspective, and I wish I had learned more sooner. Maybe I would not have been in the situation that I was in. Maybe I wouldn't be where I'm at now. Things might have been grossly better from the get-go. I don't know. When you spend your lifetime being abused by people, it takes its toll on you. Unfortunately, it can cause you to do stupid shit too. It just kind of goes in a vicious cycle, and there's no way to stop the cycle and without getting off the damn train. And getting off the train could be bad, or it can be good. It depends on you and how you cope with your life. So I'm still a bit wonk about this. I mean, I'm not overly keen by not having all the dots dotted, the T's crossed when it comes to the, paperwork side of stuff. I want to know, when I know I filled out a damn W-4, then I'll feel better about actually being employed by somebody. At some point this next week or so, they're supposed to set me up with some uniforms and that kind of stuff, and they haven't specifically said when and where. And I'm not so sure that they all know either. So I'm just kind of trying to roll with it and work with, try to have some patience with it. Once again, something that I'm not normally well suited to do. It is what it is, Like I said, I'll be 58 in September. My sister keeps reminding me I'm not 58 yet. But I'll be 58 in September, so I've got 9 solid hard years of labor before I qualify for the basic Social Security package. But knowing my situation and the fact that once you get on that Social Security, you're on a very fixed income. My goal is to work until I've got until I'm 70, so I'll get 2 to 3 extra years on that Social Security, which will give us a little extra every month, according to my understanding of how this stuff's supposed to work. Assuming, of course, we have it. Because it sure seems like there's a whole lot of people in Washington right now doing their ever-loving best to wreck all that stuff, to rip it out from underneath everybody in this country. Well, I tell you, I just don't know how to deal with that either. That brings me lots and lots of concern. You've heard me cry for a while now, so, it's what it is. One thing's for sure, I'm definitely making more money an hour today than I was last week. And at some point, I will have far better health care and benefits than I've ever had in my lifetime, which is well overdue, well past due. I really am hoping this will be the last transition of this sort that I'll have to deal with. The next transition should be retirement in 10 damn years, assuming, of course, we get to that point. But I tell you, it still feels odd. Because 3 days ago, I didn't know if I was working or not. I didn't know if it would be a week or 2 weeks or how long this would take to get transitioned over. And then, of course, it's hard not to have some expectations. Jesus, they got far nicer trucks than this thing. They'd be like driving bloody Cadillacs. I've never driven a Cadillac in my lifetime. I have never driven a brand new car in my lifetime, let alone owned anything like that. But it all kind of goes hand in hand. I've learned to deal with stuff. It's like when I went over the WSI last week, it was Wednesday or Thursday, I think Wednesday, and I talked to Dylan, that's the guy that's on me, that I answered to, and he looked at the truck, and the first thing he noticed was the stick shift. And it goes, oh, that's going to be a problem. And for a minute, I thought, well, what do you mean by that being a problem? And then it occurred to me, you know how few people know how to drive a stick these days? How many people do you know that know how to drive a manual, let alone a commercial truck manual? I mean, it's nothing. It's just got more gears than the 3-speed on the floor or 3-speed on the column would have. See, now it's Sunday night. One of the reasons I picked Sunday night to do this job is because our next door is closed, right? Fortunately, Happy Joe stays open until 10. Let's see, make sure I get that thing. You gotta make sure the damn clutch is in gear, right? So, let me see if I can get this out of here. Right over there. Can't really see very good. I don't know. There's the Happy Joe's over there. That's that light with the light and yon window. Light and yon window brakes. It'd be the Don. No, it'd be pizza. So, technically speaking, I'm not supposed to, I shouldn't do this thing until closer to 10. They don't, the actual restaurant closes at 10. They stop doing deliveries at 9:30. They're dead as fuck. Excuse my language. They're really dead over there. So my intention is to pull up, drop a hose. For them though, the manholes are right in front of the doors, about 6-7 feet in front of the door. But if I start on the far end, there is a lift station. I pump it first, then I come over and I start on the inlet side, which is where all the thick stuff coming from the restaurant ends up first. And then this is a 3,000 gallon interceptor plus about 250, 300 gallons for the lift station. They want it both pumped on every time we come. So it makes 2 trips. No matter how you divide the truck holds 2,500 gallons. So I'll make a full load down there to the sewer plant, unload, come back, get a partial. Normally, if the weather was it's getting warmer now. We're hitting 50s and 60s for our daytime temperatures. It still drops well below freezing, though, at night. And yesterday, it didn't get over 32, 30, I think 31, 32 yesterday. So there's still a good chance that ice will form in the tank. So I will take the truck to the WA on the second trip and dump it. Usually when the weather's warmer, I just leave it in the truck. But I don't, once again, this is not All Clean's truck anymore. It's WSI's truck. And I don't know what their policies are. I don't know what their any of that stuff is. I know what mine is, but I don't want to, they said, just keep doing what you do. So like this afternoon, when I got done this morning around noon, I took the truck back to the house instead of, the shop, just so I didn't have to run my van back and forth for no point, no reason. And well, if they were over at the WSI yard and you have to punch a clock over there, I wouldn't be doing that. I would take the truck back and punch out. I have these timesheet things. This is how All Clean has done it for years, is you fill out your timesheet based on the honor system. So in this case, I'll go ahead and empty the truck. And then tomorrow when after I get up and breakfast, I go over there, take my work orders and my timesheet for today's work and give it to them and ask them if they want to come, take me, if they want me to let's get the truck and bring it to the WSI yard. My boss's wife, they've sold the property already. The neighbor bought it. And his intentions is to tear down the office part itself. It's a little old house. It's literally falling apart. Parts of the floor are caving in where, it's a very kind of wonky floor to walk on. There's no fixing that house. It's the amount of money it would take to bring that house up to code, let alone refurbish it, would be just better to replace it with another house. And he doesn't plan on doing that at all. I suspect he's going to tear it down and use it rent it out as it is, with the big shop is the main draw and not what's left of the house, which gets the boss's wife out from underneath the septic, because the septic up there, the lateral's crushed. So in the summer, in spring and fall, when it rains a lot, I make 2-3 trips a week to the sewer plant, pumping that septic out up there and dumping it. Well, that same reason was let me to pump my own septic for the last 5 years, more or less for free. Now, my boss, every now and then I give my boss $100 for, letting me use the truck kind of thing. You don't normally have to get your septic done every year, because I had the truck, I had the knowledge to do it. I didn't see any reason not to. And the boss was fine with it. So from here on out, I'll be paying for somebody else to do it, I suspect. I don't know if WSI does septics. I know they do porta potties, so they can do a septic. Whether or not they want to or not, I don't know. Cross that bridge when we get there, because if I can, pay them to do it, maybe I can get it done cheaper. than what it would be done, if I have to pay a third party to do it, or another person outfit to do it. Still nervous, still worried, concerned, not scared. I'm not terrified anymore, but I'm still nervous. I don't want to screw anything up. I want to do as best I can. There's still a lot of unknowns I'm not happy with. It's probably going to take a couple months. Once I'm in their uniform and I'm operating out of their building and their property, then I'll know I'm formally a member of their company. I mean, I am now. It's just I don't quite feel it, And then I'll have to come to grips with just being another tool in the box. I kept Janice and Emmett afloat. This truck and me. I know for a fact when things were real bad, when the weather was real bad, I was out working when the hood guys weren't. And there were times when the hood crews were broke down. We didn't have enough crews. They were lucky if they had one crew out running with Kevin. Would be out running, but in a good month we could run 3. We'd have 5 crews. We had the business for it, but they never could get enough help. But we could run 3, and they were making good money. But there were plenty of times when it was just down to 1 or none, and I kept the lights on running this truck. So that's a lot of independence that I don't have now because I'm working for WSI, or will be under their auspice and under their control. So that makes some adjustments. And of course, one of the things that I have to adjust to is they're a nice sized company, but they're not massive. But they have a lot of staff in the office that just, compared to where I'm used to, at the peak when I first started, when we first started, Janice had 2 office people, a part-time person doing my scheduling and stuff and invoicing for my job, and a full-time office manager that was accountant, did all the payroll and other stuff. And then when Kay quit last year, Janice just decided to take it full on. So that allowed her to save money. She wasn't paying for extra staff. She used that money to pay off some loans and stuff that needed to get paid off so they could get closer to selling the property. There was a huge lawsuit against the company about 4 years ago. 3 years ago, it was really ugly. And it cost the company a lot of money. They won the case, but they were still out $130,000, $140,000, whatever it was, for that lawyer and all the expenses. I mean, when they did depositions alone, they did like 7 or 8 depositions. It cost she said it was like $5,000 per deposition or something. It was insane. So there's $35,000 of that $120,000 right off the bat just for depositions. It was nuts. And the grounds the lady was using to sue the company, well, didn't quite pan out that way. So I'm glad they were able to get all that done. It sounds like they didn't get nearly as much money from the business as they wanted. I know she got about $40,000 for selling the property because the house was shot. That killed the value of the property. The business, I think they got $200,000 or $300,000, maybe $300,000 or $400,000 out of it, if that. It don't sound like she got even that because she's paying. She's worried now. They have to go on a fixed income because they're both be drawing Social Security. And I ain't got the heart to tell her that, all that extra money to bank, the system will bleed them dry. The system will bleed them dry. And Emmett has to learn to live on a budget. He's never had to deal with that before. And they're already running into issues, her trying to get him to rein him in from his spending habits. But that's on them. I mean, I wish them good luck. They've earned their right to retire. I wish they were stuck in business a little longer because I really am not. I have no confidence in how our economy is going to go. I really expect it to get bad before the year's over, and hopefully not so bad that because the first hired or the last people hired are usually the first people fired. That's true hard fact of the real world, my friends. I just want to keep a roof over my head, keep the lights on for the wife, make sure she has what she wants, basics-wise. She's not a very greedy person. She doesn't have high expectations of fancy clothes and fancy dinners and vacations. Jesus, I haven't had a vacation over 30 damn years. I haven't had a paid vacation in over 30 years. I might actually have that next year. They got this paid time off, PTO, but I don't know anything about any of it. I mean, they talk about it, but nobody sat me down yet and took me through. Usually you have an HR person that walks you through all this stuff. I imagine that's going to happen soon. I just wish it would have happened already, so I would be more confident in some of this stuff. Kind of goes with the territory. So here we are. I've been sitting here for about 10 minutes running my mouth, and absolutely nobody's come or gone. The only person there is the person working. I think one person maybe. So I'm fixing to go over there and hook the truck up, pump the stuff, and get it out and get it done. Yeah. I didn't have any time to do videos this weekend. I got a couple from last week. They're not very good, but as of some of that stuff I can go back and review. I think I got like 14, let's say between 15 and 20, but probably closer to 15 printed PDFs that I haven't bound yet. I got a nice stack about yay high sitting on my shelf that I've been printing on, kind of on a casual thing. I wasn't trying to burn through ink cartridges and their Xerox on a regular basis, so I was stretching stuff out. And then when she told us last week, the week before, I started picking up speed, but then the Xerox started jamming up on a regular basis, and I thought, this is about right. So there's a couple places around town that you can take your thumb drive and get PDFs printed out. The question is, how much do they cost, and whether or not they have there's an issue with copyright crap because, that's a product made by a company. Yes, it is. Just print the bitch out. We'll see. Meanwhile, I have a pile. I still have all the Shadowrun yet to touch. I still have a few D&D books I'm working my way through. That's kind of a sideshow thing. Eventually, they'll like everything. We run out of everything we have. And if you consider I've been doing videos on my stuff for the gaming hobby for a better part of 8 years now. 8 years. This channel has been running for almost 9 years because I started it the last part of the September of 2016. The exact date somewhere on the channel, I'm sure. But I've been doing videos and topics for role-playing games for most of that period of time. So there's a lot of stuff on the shelf, but there's some other items up there I could go back and redo too, because some of the earliest videos were not that great. Position-wise, none of my videos are spectacular. I have no illusions there. I know that once things get straightened out or settled, at least I hope, once things get settled down and I get into a new routine with this new company, I'll be less stressed. No question there. I feel a little less stressed now than I was 2 weeks ago. I was having anxiety attacks last week. I didn't recognize them for what they were, but I was having some problems. I kept feeling like I was going to have, I wasn't quite a heart attack, but it just kept feeling like, tightness right in here in my chest. It felt like somebody had been sitting on it for half the day. God bless my wife. She don't understand most of this stuff. She really doesn't. She takes for granted that I'm going to stay working and money will keep coming in. Everything will be okay. And that's my goal. Married to her over 30 years. She's a good person. She puts up with my shit. It goes a long way. I wish she was more into our hobby, but that is just what it was. But I get settled in, I get a normal shift. I'm going to talk to that fellow tomorrow and tell him that I'm the new guy. You put me where you need me. I would prefer not to do any more overnights. I'm old. I don't want to be home. I want to be home in bed. I don't want to be out all night. I don't mind working the evening at 2 or 3 o'clock till 10 or 11 or midnight, whatever. I'm fine with that. It would be better. It would be easier for us because that leaves the mornings free. So if things like doctor's appointments, errands, things like that, because my wife can't drive. And I have to emphasize that sometimes, especially with new employers. Say, look, my wife does not drive. She does not have a driver's license. She has never driven in her lifetime. Epilepsy has made that so that's not a wise thing. And so that means I have to be available to help her do things she needs to do too, as much as I can. Which was one of the beautiful things about All Clean is I literally wrote my own damn schedule. That's a huge thing. I don't think a lot of people appreciate just how much freedom that little perk gives a person at their job. My jobs always got done. Sooner or later, they got caught up and things were behind. It wasn't because I just arbitrarily decided, I don't want to work today. Rare. That's rare. I had to be sicker than a dog to go and say I'm not going to work. It's not because I wanted to. There are plenty of days where I just like, oh my God, this is what these split shifts are so bad. You go out, and like this morning, I worked for 4 hours and went 8 o'clock to noon, and then I went home and I took a nap. I got lunch, I took a nap, and then I spent around, in the evening sitting around watching the clock, watching the TV or watching the YouTube, watching the clock. So because I knew I had to go back out. So you can't really, relax and just know you're done for the day. And the overnights, well, every time I'm on an overnight, I was out all night Friday night, didn't come home till about 5 in the morning. So I got 12 hours. Out the 5 in the morning, I had a 17-hour day Friday. I ended the week with 63, almost 64 hours. So I should have seen a $1,100 check on Friday or whenever she does payroll. Since this is, the last payroll she's doing, maybe she'll get it done sooner. Plus, they're going to give me and Kevin a small bonus or a severance check, whatever. It's not going to amount to much. Her idea of a nice bonus isn't going to be what I would think or you might think is a nice bonus, but it's still better than a kick, nothing. I mean, I've already got kicked a few times. At least it felt that way. The new owner, he's a very nice guy, very driven to be successful. That too is a change of pace. My boss sat down years before I came to work for him. He has been calling it in more and more the last few years. He just absolutely burned out. And I wish him good. I wish him well. I suspect though that he's just going to sit down and eat himself to death. Probably going to a year, maybe 2 years, maybe it'll surprise me. I don't know. That's not my problem now. I mean, my problem now is to do the best I can for my new employer and stay employed. Everybody getting layoffs going off left and right. All kinds of companies are laying off. Companies you wouldn't think are laying off are laying off. The thing is, they're not talking about a lot of it. You got to listen to the YouTube. You got to listen to social media when people say, I just got laid off. The local news, CBS, the channel my wife watches, CBS, they're pretty close mouth about a lot of stuff that you'd think they would be talking about. But what do I know? Anyway, just me rambling. Welcome to March's Ramble, right? Hopefully next weekend, I'll be able to get some videos in. Writing my own schedule. On the positives, on that side, none of these big overnight jobs anymore, these big 11, 12-hour jobs, I won't be doing them with this anymore because they want to use the bigger trucks for those for sure. So I'm going to give those to the schedule, the Misty. It's going to take me a while to learn everybody's names there, and I probably won't learn everybody's names because, the driver, grease haulers, we spend a lot of our time by ourselves out here doing the jobs, which is kind of better, for me anyway. So, guys, thank you for listening, and those of you that tuned in and those of you that didn't, okay, I'm figuring to drop out, go get this job done. Finish reading my book. I've been reading, just finishing up Letter of the Law, right? Now, I've been told by somebody with a much bigger podcast than me that it's not that good a book. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. There's some good stuff in here, and I think it's all right. It'll be a while before I read it a second time, but that's okay. It's given me a little more insight into a world that I'm, trying to get pieces together again. Probably left more questions than answered them. It's okay. Looking forward to the next novel. Hopefully, this new job this new situation will allow me to be able to buy some of my stuff again, to spend a little bit of money every month on me without feeling guilty for doing so. Maybe. Right? Yeah. Because I'm saying that on average, their drivers average about 45 hours a week, which is great. That's what I like. A little bit of overtime that pushes your check up. Plus, they give a bonus. They have a monthly bonus too, based off of whatever, a couple $100 extra every month. That's nice. You know, the raise definitely will cover the insurance, so I'll be making as much or more. My take home should be a little more. Plus, I have one more payment on my furnace to make. That's $200 a month that I can now. Once that payment played, I can start pouring that money. Well, I owe the IRS $1,900, so I got to pay that down. But I'm going to split that $100 a month to the IRS. Next year, I won't have to deal with the ACA. So as soon as I get the paperwork for the Blue Cross, I will drop the Medica, and which will get me off the ACA. So next year, I actually see a tax refund and not owe the feds. That's the idea. Hopefully, that'll put even more money in our pocket next year, which makes next year even better year. I told my wife, I says, hopefully next year we'll be in a position where we can buy another van. You know, we're never going to own a new vehicle. I'm like my dad. I've always felt that a new vehicle is a waste of your money. You're actually getting shafted buying brand new vehicle. And there's a lot of people who tell you, oh, that's not true. But your value of the vehicle drops off right away. So you've already lost value. You've bought a vehicle that's now worth less than what you paid for it the minute you drive it off the lot. And then your insurance with new vehicles is the max that they can pump on you, right? So my dad always felt it was better off to get an older vehicle. If you're going to get a new car, get a near new, 2-year-old, 3-year-old car that's been broken in. So all the punky stuff that'll fall off and come loose has been fixed, and it's still got a lot of mileage left on it. But the rates for the insurance will be a lot less, and you'll be paying a lot less for the car. So I'll look at probably buying a 10-year-old van like I usually do, something that's in better shape than the one I got. The one I got's in good shape considering how old it is, but we don't put a lot of mileage on. But we kind of want to have that spare vehicle. I miss having the old car because it gave me a backup for when I needed to put the van in the shop. And of course, the old car the aluminum kept breaking down too, so that it just got to be I couldn't afford to keep both vehicles. But I would like to have the old van for bouncing back and forth to work until it falls apart, and the newer van as the main ride when we need it, until the old one dies. It's kind of how I am. I bought I had a laptop donated to the channel. It took me, I was having no end of problems with trying to understand it. I'm not an Apple person, but I was able to finagle a trade from it to somebody who gave me a refurbished laptop that's almost brand new, which is what I've been running my videos on. But my laptop in the living room is crap and needs replaced. So maybe do that soon. We'll see what kind of bonus I'm getting. Maybe it's enough to get me a new laptop for the living room. That'd be nice. And I won't make the mistake of reloading that XSplit on it, because that XSplit hijacked the other laptop and screwing the sound up again. Is what it is. Get better sound with my phone and the iPad thing, or the data pad thing in there that y'all sent me. That's real nice. That same fellow that sent me the Apple sent me listing, and I managed to get a case for it. Put a nice rubberized case that's designed to, got a lid thing here that's supposed to go on top of it, but doesn't fit right. I can't get it fit on there right, but very nice, very good sound, great picture on it. Just a little awkward dealing with it because you do recordings, so you take it home, you got to transfer them, et cetera, et cetera. And, just a few more steps than what it does to transfer stuff from my laptop, the other laptop at the house. I think things might be turned to Ben for me, as long as our wonderful government doesn't manage to screw me over somehow. Because we're back to me being a pessimist. Dang, that's a lot of money. Well, God bless you. Have a good rest of your day, Hank. Yep, yes, sir. Thank you very much there, Evan. Not very much money, to be honest, compared to some people. But it is the most money I've ever made in my life. No getting around that. Anyway, till next time, guys. Let me figure out how to get out of here. Right? Okay. Yes, close the thing.